Marataba, a breathtaking privately managed section of the Marakele National Park in South Africa's Limpopo province. In celebration of this, Wild Earth and Marataba Luxury Lodges are offering all explorers a chance to win a 3-night stay at Marataba Safari Lodge for you and a friend. In addition to a spectacular land-based safari, Marataba Luxury Lodges offer an opportunity for guests to cruise peacefully along the Matlabas River, watching the animals as they drink and wallow. The lodge offers you a chance to lie by the pool or enjoy a spa treatment, and one night could be spent sleeping out under the stars in a luxurious treehouse. Sign up to be a Wild Earth explorer before the 30th of June, and it could be you heading off on a long-awaited getaway. Wild Earth Explorers, it's in your nature. The Mara Triangle is a jewel in the Kenyan conservation crown, and thanks to the dedication of the Mara Conservancy, it thrives as one of Earth's greatest national treasures.
We have been experiencing a reduction in the whale's nest that we collect on a monthly basis, and this is basically attributed to our intense patrols.
Over the years, this courageous team of anti-poachers has reduced poaching to almost zero.
Mimi naitwa Stephen Olereso. Nimefanya kazi miaka 16 sasa. Kuanzia miaka 2002. Hao wanadamu ni wenye utua sana inaogofya ni wale wenye wanaenda kama ndovu. Wanatumia kama bunduki. Sasa hiyo ndio huwa inakuanga hatari sana kwa sisi.
As a result of the global pandemic and the massive reduction in tourist revenue, the Mara Triangle is facing a financial crisis. They need your help if they are to continue their ability to protect this magical land.
I'm Nikki here at Ambion Ngala in South Africa. I love getting questions from viewers about all the small things within the environment and how it all is integrated with one another. If you want to ask me any questions, please simply register with the Wild Earth website, head across to the Live Safari page, and then post your questions there. I'm looking forward to chatting to you on my next Wild Earth drive.
This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning, everyone. welcome to Djuma Private Game Reserve. Another chilly winter morning where the landscape looks extremely barren, but as we know it's not. Everything else has to survive out here too. So we've stopped by one of the most beautiful water bodies, Treehouse Dam, to make such a spectacular start to the morning. We won't just be coming to you live from Djuma Private Game Reserve. We will be coming to you from many different locations. So get ready to jump on board. It's that time of day for your live bumble through the bush. Welcome aboard Wendy, everyone. This vehicle is Team Wendy. We also have another vehicle out today from Djuma, and that, of course, will be Team Rusty. And both vehicles will try and find lots of spectacular animals for you. My name is Lauren. I do have Davi on camera once again. And as I've already mentioned, we are sitting here at Treehouse Dam. I have already checked the hyena den, of course. That's my first port of call in any day. I at least try, and Treehouse Dam is the closest water body to that. So before I forget, I must remind you all that we're live and interactive. Please do talk to us. You can do that in a number of different ways. #WildEarth on Twitter, @FC on the YouTube chat, or you can head over to the Wild Earth website. Go to the live safari page, and as long as you've registered, you can submit your questions there. Kids, if you're watching, we like you the most, way more than we like the adults. So please do send in your questions via email. And that email address is kidsequestions@wildearth.tv. Now, before I go into my plans for today, there is something I have to share with you all. And it's not an easy one for me to share with you all, but it's important that I do. It has been confirmed with absolute certainty that Shimbulu is no longer with us. He didn't make it through the encounter with the Talamatis the other night, I'm afraid. And that's Ribbon's boy, the little hyena cub. And Nkwazi's brother Shimbulu, unfortunately, is no longer here. Yes. So I thought, we're at a water body. Let's just take a moment to think about little Shimbulu and listen to the sounds of the bush. Many of you are sending your condolences. It's very sad. Edward, you're right. It's very sad, but he was such a character. And life out here is tough. It's all about survival. Things like this happen all the time. And of course, we get to know the animals a little bit more intimately than possibly if you were just passing through a game reserve for a day or two. So it is incredibly sad, but I think we just must remember him. He was definitely the more submissive cub out of Nkwazi and Shimbulu. He was very gentle. He was wonderful with all the other cubs, and Ribbon should definitely be proud. So I have had a lump in my throat, and I've been very sad last night, but Edward, you are right. He was such a character, and it's important to remember all the wonderful things about little Shimbulu. instead of thinking about all the sad times. So I am going to Bumble South. There's lots of things on my agenda today. I'm glad I've got that horrible news out the way. And as we sit here and try and warm up our frozen hands, let's take a look at the weather across all our locations.
Good morning, everybody. It is a cold and overcast morning. I'm John T. We've got Darren on the camera. And we up on checking along this road. We want to see if we can find any tracks of Tavangumi this morning. There was a report that someone saw tracks along here. So we're just driving slowly along to see if we can find some tracks. But shame, it is a sad morning for that poor little hyena. I'm definitely not as invested as the rest of the team, and I know Lauren spent so much time with them. And sometimes it's so brutal. Sorry, let's just turn this. It's sometimes it's very harsh out here, so we're all feeling sorry for Lauren a bit today. So this on the left here, this is where Tavangumi was the other morning. So he's been AWOL for sort of nearly 2 days now. So it's time to find him and catch up and see what he's been up to. I hope we find some tracks today. We tried to do a tracking mission the other day, but we didn't find the tracks of what we wanted to follow. There's a hyena. Heather, he would have moved a lot more in the sort of last 6 months to end up where he is now. But no, once I think this is where he's going to establish himself. He won't necessarily move more than another leopard. How lucky to just bump into this hyena walking down the road. He's just checking us out. I'm just going to sit very quietly. I was thinking it was June. Darren told me the other day that her left ear was a bit floppy. I'm just going to sit quietly and let her walk past the car. They are so big when you see them up close like that. I'm just going to reverse and we'll see if we can watch June walk down the road. I'm assuming June was out on a bit of an evening patrol. We did hear hyenas calling this morning. It sounded from the direction of around the den. I wonder if she's responding to those calls. Oh, something got her nose there. It's amazing, such an acute sense of smell. I wasn't going to go there, but I'm going to go now. Hyenas often lead you to a pot of gold. Yeah, when you see them walking from behind, they definitely have a bit of a swagger. But it's always worth just watching them a little bit. I mean, she was very relaxed walking down the road. But if you ever see hyenas, when their ears sort of tilt forward and their tail comes up a bit, they might be onto something, but you saw she was walking dead straight. Something caught her smell, caught her scent. And then she just disappeared. Yeah. There she's coming back. So Odie's also with us this morning, just cruising. He was just saying this is where Tabangumi was waiting for those impala the other day. So I don't know. She's coming back out here. So I think June's coming back onto the road. We'll turn around and carry on with our plan. You're going to head over to see what Lauren has to say.
I have Miss Kalamba. She's crossed onto Juma, everyone. I'm going to keep up with her, Davi, just because it's the exact same spot Tandy crossed last night. And from what I can gather, all three of them are still in Little Gowrie on that kill. Kalamba, Tandy and Maribs, which is unbelievable. Kalamba's obviously decided to come on to Juma, which is fantastic news. But I believe Tandy and Maribs, and unfortunately, it's not our property. I can see her dab. I think I'm going to get a gap here. It's the exact same spot we had Tandy without. It's so lovely to see Kalamba. It's been quite a while now. And for those of you who are not sure, Kalamba stole Tandy's kill. Tandy and Maribs were on the kill that we got yesterday morning, the Diker, which is hoisted up the Jackalberry in the Mulwati. Hello, princess. You're naughty. You can't steal your mama's kill. And there was a comment from one of you yesterday, and that was, Tandy has taught her offspring far too well. Best comment. Completely 100% accurate. Okay. I also have more good news to offset the sad news. I think Mr. and Mrs. Wig are back and getting ready to nest again, so we're also going to check up on them a little bit later. At least Kalamba's going to bring a big smile to all of our faces. Kim, absolutely. 100%. It's colder. By moving, they're keeping warm. Even in summer, they will move during the day, but generally speaking, especially at this time, the sun has only just sort of popped its head up in the sky. We find that the predators are a lot more active. But she looks full. I see a full belly. How lovely of you to leave some food for your mama and your half-brother, Kalamba. It's very kind of you. We're right above the embankment in the Mowasi. I don't quite know where she's going to head. It could get a little bit hairy soon. It is Kalamba after all. We got really lucky. We just came down to see if we could see any views of the 3 leopards, and she popped out in front of us, which is exactly what Tandy did. Oh, many of you are happy to hear Sedgwick's parents are back. We'll go and visit them, I promise. I'm also very happy. We've got a battle-ear chickadee. The African hawk eagles are nesting on Central Road, and now we're going to have Mr. and Mrs. Wig. And if those of you who are maybe not sure who that is, it's a pair of spotted eagle owls. They followed for quite a while. Okay, we're going to keep up with Kalamba as long as we can, and we're going to send you guys over to John D.
Good luck, Lauren. We've just moved a little bit further down the road. Still going super slow, just checking for tracks. But we're just talking about how hyenas have quite a tough time. So I don't know the whole history, but I was just being filled in that June was the matriarch, and she got displaced. And now she seems to be sort of roaming. I've seen her twice and always by herself. But it was interesting the other night when there was that commotion with the lions and hyena. You could hear the clan members calling to try and get some backup. But unfortunately, it was already too late. So this is the area where the tracks were called in. Gavin, I mean, that night they would have been quite stressed out and quite aware of what was going on, because I'm sure the youngster would have given off some sort of, distressed call when the lions caught it. But they kind of settle quite quickly. I have seen sometimes if something happens right at the I've seen it with lions and with leopards. When they lose a cub, you'll see the mom will walk around, and cheetah actually, you'll see the mom will walk around for a day or two calling the cubs. I haven't seen it with hyenas, but yeah, I don't know. And what I've seen, I don't think they'll be unsettled, but who knows? We don't really know how they feel. I just wanted to have a brief look around this intersection. This is apparently where the tracks were called in. There was quite a heavy dew last night, so any tracks that we see we'll kind of know are fresh. It looks like June came from the gate and walked all the way down here and in there. So I can't see any tracks there. Let's go down the break and we'll check here. Don't want to kick my morning coffee over. So we're going to check here and let's see if we can find something.
On board, we have a very special guest joining our live safari today. We have Sue Fogel, who has bought a ticket to Dream.
It was an easy decision to purchase a ticket to Dream because I've been working with animals for my whole life, and I think what Wild Earth does here, bringing live safaris into your home, is just remarkable.
If you want to go on safari with a Wild Earth guide, whilst honing your bush knowledge and of course featuring in one of our shows, then head over to our website.
Well, since I've been watching for such a long time, I thought it would be a good idea for me to come here in person.
Sign up to be a Wild Earth explorer and you could be making your first ever on-screen appearance.
If you have a chance to do it, I highly recommend it. To feel the sun on your face and the wind in your hair and to smell the smells and just kind of be in the animal's presence. It's undescribable. I highly recommend it.
Across southern and East Africa, the Endangered Wildlife Trust works tirelessly to save species, protect critical habitats, and benefit people. Join the EWT in returning wildlife to the wild. Go to ewt.org.za to find out more and follow our socials to see how you can get involved. Protecting forever, together.
My name is Ross and I'm a field guide at and beyond Pinde Private Game Reserve. I love getting questions from guests on Wild Earth because I love sharing and learning information about nature with new people, and it also makes me feel like you're all joining me in real life. If you want to ask a question on Wild Earth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, go to our live safari page and submit your question below our live feed.
We've seen these ellies really chase wild dogs before. Let's get into the spot. There we go, there it comes. Look at that, isn't that amazing?
Expect the unexpected here on Wild Earth daily.
So, I've just had a bit of a hunch, because there's no tracks around this intersection that we've just taken. So I want to go check towards Sandy Patch again. Seems like Tavangumi has been spending a lot of time there in that area. So I just want to go satisfy an itch. I've just got some bizarre feeling that might be there. Some guinea fowls scratching around on the road ahead of us. I'll just stop while these guinea fowls are playing on the road here. Jason, in areas where leopards haven't been habituated, I'd say they are very, very difficult to track just because they don't want to be found. So I suppose it's their behavior. Sometimes I've been tracking leopards in areas where they're not as relaxed as they are here in the Sabi Sands, and they'll lead you in a circle, and you'll come back round and see your own footprints with the leopard tracks on top of yours, and when that happens, you just walk back to the car. It sounds like Lauren's managed to catch up with the leopard again, so you're going to head over to her.
She went flat. Our princess went flat, which is jolly good. And she's now grooming. So apparently, from what I can gather, it's a little bit tricky because Little Gowrie is on the eastern channel. We are on the northern channel. And Kalamba Maribs and Tandy were all still around that jackalberry. So Tlalamba's obviously been very possessive of the duiker, and now she's sort of left it. She came back onto Juma, which is great news. And I would imagine that Tandy and Maribs are back up that jackalberry. We dipped our toes into Little Gowrie yesterday with the permission of Paul, who's a wonderful gentleman. But unfortunately, we just don't have a view of that jackalberry. It's actually the exact same jackalberry. I'm sure some of you will remember where Sabui, Shasha and Langa also had a kill. I was there not so long ago. It was the same jackalberry. Hello, girl. You're a hard lady to pin down, I'll tell you. And you know that, don't you? Oh, here we go. No, we're just grooming, that's fine. It's so wonderful to see her, and she really is the Juma leopard, if that makes sense now. She is the dominant... Okay, Sir 50, she's such a pretty girl, yes. Now, the skies have just opened on us, everyone, and we are obviously next to a leopard, so we're just going to ever so carefully put some covers on our equipment. It's light rain, but sometimes that's the most damaging rain. So just bear with us. Oh, and Tlalamba decides to move at that moment. Wonderful. Are you keeping an eye on her, doggy? Okay, we're just going to cover all our equipment here and then keep up with our very busy little princess.
So we just stopped. We thought we heard a jackal calling off on the side here, but we haven't heard anything again. So let's carry on. It sounded like a side-striped jackal, the brief audio that we had, but might have just been a contact call. Jackals will sometimes alarm call if they see a bigger predator. Okay. So we'd also got clarity. The vehicle that we thought had called in that he had found leopard tracks, he was actually just saying he was looking for leopard tracks. There was a bit of a breakdown on the radio. But that's fine. We're in the right area. So now we'll just go check. Like I said, I had some sort of feeling about Sandy Patch. We're about to go check there. Yeah, Wesley, you're right. The only jackal I've seen was actually the other night when we rushed out to go and see what all the commotion was between the lions and hyenas. And there, by the dam camp, we saw a side-striped jackal, which was pretty cool. Sometimes you might hear me whistling or humming. It's something that, I don't know, I've always just done I suppose it's when I'm happy, these things just start happening. And I have to catch myself, because now obviously I've got a microphone, so I'm sorry if you sometimes hear me doing that. I've had guests asking me before if I do that to try and attract the animals, and that's not the reason why. It's I don't know, my subconscious. Sometimes it'll be a song that comes into my head, sometimes it'll be a bird call, or sometimes it'll just be a random sound. Beautiful hammerkop just flew past us, did a little low flyover. Managed to reposition with the leopard, so head over to her and see what the leopard's doing.
I am indeed keeping up with Kalamba. The rain's getting slightly heavier, which is not ideal. We have covered all the important stuff for now, but wearing glasses in the rain is really not fun. Someone should design little window wipers for glasses. You can just push a button and it goes. She's just stopped next to this Tamboiti here. If she heads into the drainage line, we might struggle a little bit. But it's just so lovely to see her. Tamboiti bark is really rough. And sometimes you'll find the leopards walk right next to it to sort of itch that scratch, just have a good rub of their skin. And now we're scent marking. Fern, some animals really do relish the rain, to be honest. So maybe not. It's not a downpour. Oh dear. Dav, what do you think about our next move?
We have to go around.
I have to go around. Okay, this is going to be tricky. But we'll do our very, very best. Rex and that's Kalamba popping out at Mambalu. Okay, Davi's saying we can possibly try this. I think we can try it too. Wendy's a good old car. Let's see if we can manage this. It's about as steep as that Lakewood one, isn't it, Davi? Oh my goodness. This is like a roller coaster in the rain. Okay, hopefully I can make this. If you don't see us again, then you know we haven't. But for now, over to Jonty.
Where Tamangumi came the other day, he was actually lying in this clump of grass. But there is a set of tracks for him. He must have had a drink here. The only problem is it's so hard. Obviously that's soft mud. And then it's this hard dry, it's like tarmac. So we're just trying to see. I'm not convinced. I think those are the tracks from the other day. But we'll definitely work this little area around Sandy Patch here. But it's good to see a track, at least one track. Sorry, was that, are birds reliable? Yeah, birds can be a really good indicator. So especially when you're tracking. So like, for example, now we found this one set of tracks. If we find some more tracks and we're busy following them, if we hear birds start alarming in front of where we're tracking, then you kind of know you're on really fresh tracks. So they can be reliable. But they can also send you a bit off track, because like I've seen Franklins watch a leopard walk past, and then the leopard will be 50 meters past it, and then they start alarming, and then it can kind of send you a little bit off track. But they still tell us something. There's a few raindrops coming, but let me turn the car around. We'll go check along this road here and see if there's any tracks. I'm just going to pop our bum in here, Darren. I love the call for a... But that's hard. Once I start thinking about it, there might be more. But I've always loved a dark-backed weaver. That's a very cool call. I'll play it for you now once I turn around. Let me just get the call quickly. I'm sure you'll hear it. I've got this app. Let's see. Oh, there we go. I hope you can hear that. But that is one of my favorite calls. It's also a really beautiful bird. Elton was just telling me you could hear it very loudly. Sorry if it hurt your ears. But yeah, that's a cool call. I like that call. The African fish eagle is like a classic sound of Africa. Obviously sounds a lot better than that. So we have got a few little raindrops falling on our heads here. Do you think so? So I'm actually going to head back towards camp. We might just play it safe and go put the roof on the car rather than getting wet. Yeah, but when you start thinking about bird calls, you start thinking one and then another. A chestnut-vented tit babbler's also got a pretty cool call. Crimson-breasted shrike. Oh, that is weird. There's just, you can see there's like one band of rain that's coming through here. So I think I'm definitely going to warm it up a little bit and try to get us back into camp before this rain gets heavy. It does look like quite a thick band. And we'll see if we can get the roof on. So we're going to rush back. You're going to head over and see the dam cam and see what's happening. And as soon as we've got our roof on, we'll be back out live looking for some beasts.
Yeah, we are currently driving towards the area where we left that Birmingham young male yesterday. A very good morning to our viewers and warm welcome to and Beyond Ngala in Kruger National Park. I am Marcus, and of course behind the camera I've got Mpo. There goes Mpo's thumb. And yeah, I would like to apologize for earlier. It's just in Juma they're experiencing rain problems, which was our problem earlier as we are now going out. And I'm sure it will be sorted. They will be back now. We are still live, by the way. And so yeah, the plan for this morning will be to head back to where we left that Birmingham young male last night. Because after we have left, we've heard from other updates that there were some hyenas around, maybe 8 or so. So it will be quite interesting to see whether or not he has managed to keep his carcass, defend it against those hyenas, which I'm hoping that is the case. But yeah, all that remains to be seen or confirmed. And as you can see, maybe you might be able to see from a distance, it's very, very overcast this morning. So I mentioned we had a bit of rain earlier. And yeah, it is still touch and go. It can rain at any given time. And here we have got about, it's about 12 degrees Celsius this morning at Ngala, which is 54 degrees Fahrenheit. Not as cold. Well, I think it might be because of this cloud cover, so it's not too cold at all. But yeah, it's kind of a fun weather that we have got now. I know that we do get some light drizzles in winter, but not like this that you get in consecutive days. But of course, it is what it is. Sometimes we do have to roll with the punches. Yeah, so it is still a bit of a drive to that water body that we left that Birmingham young male last night. Maybe it will take us another 12 to 15 minutes. But yeah, I would really like to see what might have happened last night. But he is a big boy, like we mentioned. Like, these hyenas sometimes will think twice before trying to mess with him. And yeah, it will be nice to get there, see if maybe the other members of the Birmingham Pride have joined him during the night. Or even this morning as well, because like it is still cold, these predators. Yeah, we are as happy, Jessica, to be out, because we were geared up for the morning, and as soon as we were about to hit the road, that's when it started pouring a bit. And then we, of course, had to remain in camp until around 7 or so. That's when it sort of stopped. And now we can be out, as you can see. Because, of course, there's nowhere else I'd rather be than out here in the bush, sharing the beautiful magic of the bush with the viewers. Yeah, that being mentioned, it might still rain again. It still looks pretty much dark. These clouds are rather threatening. But yeah, we'll just play it by the ear. Hopefully it doesn't rain.
There's a check of my level of
So I'm only hoping now that the rain that's at Juma now, it's not making its way towards us. because I think that might have been the case yesterday on our sunrise safari, because Juma experienced some rains shortly after the show has ended. We also experienced those rains, and of course we had to race back to camp. I'm just hoping that is not the case this morning. Here we are in that Timbawati dry riverbed. But of course, this morning we won't be driving on the riverbed. We will just be crossing it just to get to Clara Dam, for those who knows it, or that water hole where we left that Birmingham young male last night. And I still all right, yeah, while we are still making our way, we are going to send you over to Pridelands, where JP would like to say morning to the viewers.
Good morning and welcome to Wild Earth. We're live on Bushwalk and we already started our walk a while ago. We're currently standing at a dry pan that had water several months ago and it's now totally dried up. We're always amazed to find how many of the tracks are still, that we can still see after it's even dried. So our plan for this morning is to keep on walking from here, do a circular route, and then come back eventually to Ndlovu Dam. So my name is JP LaRue, and behind the cameras we've got Craig for the morning. So there's a few of the things that I would like to share with you about these little pans. So as that they are seasonal, they dry up after there's no longer any rain that's been falling. And what we find quite often with many of these pans throughout the eastern half of South Africa is that they can also hold eggs for fish that's known as killifish. So we find that this very unique species of fish will often deposit the eggs in the mud. And then several months later, once there's correct water pressure being reached again, these little fish will then start, eggs will hatch, and the fish will continue its whole life cycle. There's another species of fish that we find in the eastern half of South Africa and further north, which is known as a lungfish, which will often also dig into this mud and then wait for situations to become better once there's rain again. I can remember there was a story that I read about a lungfish where mud was taken from a wallow and they used it for making buildings, blocks. And some 2 years later, after the building was erected, one of these lungfish started coming out of the mud of this mud hut once it started raining. We also sometimes find that terrapins will dig themselves into this. Another common fish species that we find in the area, which also digs themselves into the mud, is known as catfish. I was absolutely surprised in the 2015 drought period after that there was no rain for a long period of time. But with the very first rains, that these catfish started crawling out of these little mud wallows. For those of you that are joining us for the first time, these mud wallows often start off as a single footprint that was created by elephant and a muddy surface. We then find that species such as warthog will come and wallow in there, and eventually larger animals such as buffalo and also rhinos will come and wallow in there and take more and more of the mud. And on the end, we also find elephants who use these. And then this becomes home to a number of other species, such as frogs, fish, as we discussed already.
The annual Safari Guide of the Year competition aims to create awareness for those men and women who dedicate their lives to tourism and wildlife. This year's event will be held at Marataba, a breathtaking privately managed section of the Marikele National Park in South Africa's Limpopo province. In celebration of this, Wild Earth and Marataba Luxury Lodges are offering all explorers a chance to win a 3-night stay at Marataba Safari Lodge for you and a friend. In addition to a spectacular land-based safari, Marataba Luxury Lodges offer an opportunity for guests to cruise peacefully along the Matlabas River, watching the animals as they drink and wallow. The lodge offers you a chance to lie by the pool or enjoy a spa treatment, and one night could be spent sleeping out under the stars in a luxurious treehouse. Sign up to be a Wild Earth explorer before the 30th of June, and it could be you heading off on a long-awaited getaway. Wild Earth Explorers. It's in your nature. The Wildlife and Environment Society of South Africa, WESA, encourages people to care for the earth. Through innovative projects, they aim to reverse the serious issues that we face in the world today. One of these projects is Green Coast, a proudly South African award for sensitive and well-managed coastal sites. This sustainability project protects our national coastlines while providing unemployed youth with a love for their environment and a hope for the future. WESA is a membership and volunteer-supported organization. Every supporter is helping to change the only earth we have. Visit our website to see how you can help care for our earth.
I love being a cam up for Wild Earth. The animals coming right up close to you, especially like lions. Sometimes you get nervous, but you have to go with the flow. My favorite animal to film is the elephant because of how big it is. But when it's really up close to you, it's one animal that you would say, I really respect you.
All right, we are sitting here with a red-billed hornbill that's feeding on termites in that termite mound that you see there. And this is not actually very far from where we last left that Birmingham young male. So I think for now we are going to leave this hornbill to his breakfast on that mound and continue making our way towards that water body. And yeah, from here, not too far at all, maybe 2 minutes or so, we'll be in that area. And it will be quite interesting to see, like as we're coming now, we could hear some hyenas. Like the sound felt like it's coming from somewhere in that direction. So maybe those hyenas again came back this morning. Or you might also find that they haven't really left last night. They might have tried during the night to steal that kill away from that Birmingham young male. So I guess, yeah, it's only time that will tell. When we get there, we'll be able to assess the whole situation, see whether or not there is still some carcass left, or even if that Birmingham young male is still there, or it's just the hyenas finishing whatever it is that he might have left for them. So, very good question from Kevin. It wants to know whether or not the hyenas do follow lions or they avoid each other. So it will pretty much depend. Most of the time, hyenas will try and stay clear of lions, especially like I mentioned when there are these males that are involved, or if it is a male lion. But yeah, that being mentioned, these hyenas have got a knack of following these predators, even if it's just at a good distance. They do sometimes follow them. We have seen that with hyenas following wild dogs and also following leopards. there was one instance when they followed cheetahs as well. So but they will try and follow at a distance so that at least these animals will try hunt. And then when they are successful, these hyenas will move in and try and steal the kill. But with lions, it's mostly when these lions have killed something when you will see hyenas in that area. But if they haven't killed anything, it's more the hooded vultures that you might see sort of following lions, because those ones also go for the lion's skirt. But yeah, there's no love lost between hyenas and lions. Sworn enemies for life. Of course, if hyenas get hold of lion cubs, they will kill them. And vice versa, if lions get hold of hyena puppies, they kill them like that, just so to eliminate future competition. Can you please kindly repeat that question for me, Jessica? It broke up quite badly. I'm not sure if Jessica would like to know if I've ever seen a hyena hunt, if I got that quite well. Yes, Jessica, I have seen a hyena hunt. So it was like 7 or so hyenas, and we were out in the bush having a bush dinner. So as we were about to leave, we saw this impala that ran and didn't really mind the people in the crowds there inside, and the impala just stood there. And when we looked around, we could see some hyenas close by. And as soon as we left, those hyenas went for that impala. Like from seeing them, yeah, so you can hear those hyenas calling on the background. There's quite a few clan members here where we are still going. I'm not sure whether that young male is still there, but we'll see just now. But I did see a lot of hyenas. Maybe 6 or so. Well, it might be more than that. And of course, there is a vulture also in the mix. And looking at these hyenas, the distance they're standing, so that's like, it is quite a lot of hyenas. Oh, and the young male is here also standing his ground. 8 hyenas at least that I can see here, but he's keeping all of them at bay. Quite nice to see. I'm trying to position in a way where we'll get all this action. Yeah, so it is 8 hyenas here, as you can see, all sort of trying to intimidate this young male here, but he is not having any of it. Like a standing guard to his carcass there, as you can see. And it doesn't look like these hyenas are that confident as to moving in with him. How cool. You see, they're just calling, trying to sort of intimidate him. But none of them are moving quite close, so they really know better. You just have to love hyenas, eh? Stations, there is 8 clan members here trying, but yeah, this young male is still guarding his carcass. As you can see, that young male there close to that carcass is not really trying to He's not really trying to chase each and every one of them in different directions, which is what these hyenas will be hoping for. That well, it's hard to tell for now, Nick, but yeah, it might be worth coming this side. It's quite an action. Sorry about that. You see, that young male is now up. Yeah, well, we are as excited as our viewers to see what will happen here. I'm just very proud of this young male, how he can stand up to this number of hyenas. So like 8 of them with all making those sounds. It is intimidating in a way, but it looks like he is standing his ground, as you can see there. And they're sort of approaching in all different directions. There he goes lying down. Of course, he is still keeping a watchful eye, as you can see. When they move from side to side, he just looks at them like that. And quite smart of him not to try and engage, because this highness is exactly what they would want from him. That reaction that maybe he will chase one of them and then the others can move in on that carcass. So he has done the smart thing, as you can see. He just lied close to that carcass, because of course this highness is what they're after. So they have to make the move to him. How exciting is this? Look at all those hyenas. I just love how they are all trying to reposition every now and then, but none of them is actually confident enough to move in on that young male. But of course they know that sometimes it can be fatal to them. I remember this sound quite well. There was once a time where I saw I 100% agree with you, Nathan. This is one of those things that you just over the moon when you do witness it. When this early in the morning, all these hyenas, like they say 8, I think the update last night was about 7. Pretty much something like that, that they tried to come for this young male. They were not as successful. So as you can see today, this morning, they're still trying again to sort of intimidate him on him abandoning that carcass so that they will go in and finish it. But as you can see, this young male is not really having any of it. They're giving all these sorts of sounds. So like I was saying earlier, this is the sound that I heard. 3 hyenas after a pack of 17 dogs took down an impala ram and they wanted to steal it, and then the dogs came for these hyenas. So these are the sorts of sound that they will give sometimes. And come to think of it, you might find that these hyenas even spent the night here, tried, but looks like that young male is successfully defending his carcass. See, they're all closing in on that young male, but not confident enough to be able to take him on. I just love how brave that young male is there. Now, a lot of viewers say that this young male is a survivor, and it's quite evident with this scene here. As you can see, he is truly a survivor. Oh, look at that one. Moving in from the back. about it. These species are both nocturnal, from this young male to these hyenas. So Andrew has just asked a very interesting question: if other lions in this area will be attracted by this noise. That is always a possibility, Andrew. I mean, with this commotion, if there is some other lions close by, they will be able to sense that there might be something happening, in which case they might decide to come and investigate. And of course, they will find this standoff. And if it is the other members of the pride, of the Birmingham pride, especially the ones with the white two, which is the one that mostly used to live with this young male here, they might even join him to defend that carcass. But of course, if it is the Ross males, they will sort of get rid of him, as well as these hyenas, in which case they might be able to finish whatever is left of that carcass there. I think actually I can see a 9th hyena in the background, but it looks like it's not really joining the struggle. So it's just this 8 that looks like they are not giving up. Of course, when it comes to patience, these hyenas are, I think, by far the best. And looking at that carcass, this young male has fed a great deal from what was here last night, and looking at what he's got now. So he might have been at it like most of the night. And still, as you can see there, the message is quite clear: I'm not sharing. What you can see, there's one hyena close to us there. Looks like it's just posing for the camera. But of course, he's got his eyes on the prize, as you can see. And that carcass looks like there is still a bit left, at least if it's for that young male. But if these hyenas do get hold of it, like, it will be done quickly. Also, it's something which is a possibility. Like, as you can see, these hyenas, of course, they don't just give up. And that young male, you can see how resilient he is. Also, that I am not sharing, I'm not having my prize stolen by these hyenas. So it might go for as long as needs be. Like that young male doesn't seem intimidated, at least by these hyenas that are here for now. But with all this commotion, with all these noises, other hyenas might even hear it and decide to make their way this side, of which all of that remains to be seen. So one hyena yawning as well. Of course, they are nocturnal species. This is the time of the day when they had to take it easy, relaxing after they've been at it for the whole night. But of course, they still want to steal this carcass. So much as they might be tired, much as they might be exhausted, they weren't really going to give up. Like, even if they think, let's at least call off this standoff for now, they will pretty much be in these surroundings here, that as soon as they think they still have got a bit of energy, they will make their way back here to try and steal this carcass from this young male. They're just moving around in circles around him, and he's not too bothered, if I can call it that. What a beautiful morning, hey? Seeing all these hyenas around here, I'm sure Lauren must be very jealous of the sighting now. because I know she loves these hyenas. And of course, it's not every day where you get to see 9 clan members in one go in one area that are trying to steal a kill from a lion. Yeah, no, because I'm hoping something like that as well, because you never really know. Much as now he has managed to kept his prize, you never know if a lot of hyenas makes their way here, what will happen. And if it's him and him only, sometimes there might be a time where he'll just have to call off the whole thing. But for now, he is still keeping them at bay, which is quite nice of him. I see just one hooded vulture also in the mix, but of course it knows better than to get too close. Because much as these hyenas are failing to steal that carcass, if a hooded vulture is within reach, these hyenas might try go for it. Alright, I am now going to try and reposition so that we have got these hyenas also on site. Isn't this just amazing to see? Maybe reverse and face them straight head on.
Yeah.
Shablan. Like this. There he is, as you can see, sticking to his prize there. And those beautiful hyenas at the background. Listen to all the sounds that they make here. I agree with you, Bondubesh. Like, this is just wow. And of course, he is brave. He is sticking to his grounds. He's not having any of it. Like, they're trying by all means there to sort of intimidate him with all these different sounds, with them looking like they're moving in closer and going around in circles. But as you can see, he's sticking to his guns there. He is not giving up this one, at least not without a fight. And successfully so, if I might add. As you can see, he is guarding it with his life. You just have to love hyenas, eh? You see, of course, he's got those hyenas on his back, but as you can see, he doesn't look really too bothered at all. But of course, he won't let his guard down there, as you can see. Like, he's well aware. If they do try and move in closer, that's when he will show them. That's when he might react. But like for now, I think this young male is being smart. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, these hyenas are hoping, coming in all different directions, hoping that it's gonna chase one of them, or at least two. As you can see, it's like two there, but the others will then move in on his carcass. So he chose to go protect the prize than that surrounding, which is quite smart of this young male. And of course, I do repeat again, we at And Beyond, we don't really name these animals. So I remember yesterday I did mention the name Osendele, of which I heard it from the viewers or the fans, but I just wanted to stay relevant to the fans to know exactly which lion we are talking about. But of course, to us, it is that Birmingham young male. I think I just had to make this clear to all our viewers. Oh, there goes the hyena choir there.
On board, we have a very special guest joining our live safari today. We have Sue Fogel, who has bought a ticket to Dream.
It was an easy decision to purchase a ticket to Dream because I've been working with animals for my whole life. And I think what Wild Earth does here, bringing live safaris into your home, is just remarkable.
If you want to go on safari with a Wild Earth guide, whilst honing your bush knowledge and of course featuring in one of our shows, then head over to our website.
Well, since I've been watching for such a long time, I thought it would be a good idea for me to come here in person.
Sign up to be a Wild Earth explorer and you could be making your first ever on-screen appearance.
If you have a chance to do it, I highly recommend it. To feel the sun on your face and the wind in your hair and to smell the smells and just kind of be in the animal's presence. It's undescribable. I highly recommend it.
Take 27. I'm Carol from Chicago, USA. This is me 5 years ago. No music, no editing, real time. I was hooked. Thank you so much for that, Wild Earth.
I had lost my job and I also lost one of my pets. So Wild Earth has seen me through very hard times, and I just want to thank all of you for being there for me when I needed you most.
We love you. We start and end our day with you, teaching our grandkids all about nature through you, your wonderful educational safaris.
We really do appreciate being on safari with you, especially when it's cold and wintry in Canada.
And considering we've been in lockdown for 18 months here in Saudi and I've not been able to fly back to South Africa, I want to thank you for bringing your safari back into my life every single day and night. I love it, love it, love it.
My name is Lauren and I'm currently working in Djuma Private Game Reserve here in South Africa. I love answering your questions during the live safaris. It's my favorite part. It feels like you're on the vehicle with me and I'm able to teach you exactly what you want to know. If you want to ask a question on Wild Earth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, you must go to the live safari page and ask your question below the live feed.
You are back live with us in Djuma from Team Wendy and Team Chickadee. Our little one has been doing lots of wing stretches, listening to every hornbill, every francolin, every bird call. Almost looks surprised there are other birds in the sky apart from mom and dad. On another tree, I've not seen chickadee on this tree. This dead tree of sorts. Now, Kalamba is very deep in a drainage with a 0.5 visual, 0.5 out of 5. So we are going to head back down that way. I just wanted to come and check on Tandy and Maribes to see if there was any visual. Then we got caught in a little bit of rain, but we're back in the game. No visual of Tandy and Maribes, but we thought it's all happened right across from the back layer, so we may as... Oh, we're getting so brave. Okay, we are going to slowly head back to Kalamba, but we're going to send you back across to all that action at Ngala.
Yeah, welcome back to And Beyond Ngala, everyone. As you can see, that commotion, it's very much still active. It is still happening. So as you can see, that young male is out now. And those hyenas did get very close. I found them some moments ago. And that's when he woke up and went for them. And of course, they scattered. And then he came back again to come guard his carcass there. And look at that. And I just like how that male is behaving, is showing character, is showing bravery, of which that is working to his advantage for now. Like these hyenas thought that maybe with these numbers they will be able to steal that carcass. But of course, being these braves make them at least stay at bay, much as they do try every now and then to move in closer. But not close enough, as you can see. And of course, he is a big male now, so things can go pretty bad pretty quick for these hyenas. Oh, I just saw them run away. I thought that maybe... So, I want to know if hyenas can kill these lions. Of course, there is always a possibility, like these hyenas have got the strongest bite of any land mammal. So of course, if they do get hold of this lion, if they ever will, they can kill him, even though for now their objective will not necessarily be to kill him, but more to steal the carcass that is got there. Because of course that will make them not lose as much energy, and of course it will be a free meal. Even though with all that singing it won't be as free as well, they would have ended. But of course this young male is not having any of that. And just some moments ago, as you might have seen these hyenas running, I thought that maybe they just saw another lion in the vicinity here, but no, it is still that young male sticking to his prize. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. As you can see there, he is not having of whatever these hyenas are trying to do. Of course, he's got nerves of steel. I think that's the best suitable explanation at this moment in time. And you see, he shows them that he is confident, he's not shaken. Like some of them are behind him like that, but he can still, oh, there you go. Like, I do apologize for all this giggling because I'm starting to sound like a hyena myself, but it's one of those situations where one can't really help it, you know. How beautiful is this sighting? How awesome are these hyenas calling on the background there? But most importantly, how brave is this young male here? He's quite a big boy, as you can see him standing there. And I think those eyes do say it all, that I'm not sharing my meal with hyenas, at least not this morning. Excuse me. And that is how there is. So, Karen, I didn't really get that question. Also, Karen would like to know if the hunger of these hyenas would make them brave enough to go get the meal. Well, that is potentially what might happen. But amongst these hyenas, who is brave enough to take that first step to go confront that young male? That's the real question here. So, like, of course, they will get hungry. I'm sure they are hungry as it is, but of course, they know better. So it's more now about, do I stay hungry and risk dying, or do I stay hungry and actually try live to hunt another day or to steal another day, as the case might be with these hyenas? So of course I don't think any of them is prepared to be that ultimate sacrifice for the rest of them to be having that carcass there. So they'll look like all happy to keep their lives and stay hungry, as that is the case, as you can see on the screen. So a few of them are lying down, as you can see. That also shows exhaustion, because if they come circle this young man, they're always calling. Of course, they do lose some energy while doing that. So that will be one trying to recuperate there. I think I'm still going to stick around in deciding. Of course, there is some things happening. In the meantime, we are going to send you over to Juma.
We have 3 hyenas, Juma clanners, which is quite a bittersweet thing. It's actually so lovely to see them, especially after the awful news. I don't know if this is in Tima. Is it in Teamsy Teams? She's going for water. Okay, I think I should reverse so we can just catch this. It's lovely to see a hyena drink. Okay, I'm just gonna go down here. There's 2 other hyenas, by the way. There's 3 of them all traveling together. Oh, she's drinking. Hello, you. It is. It's in Teamsy Teams. I wonder if the other 2 is possibly ribbon. I'm not sure. I didn't get a close enough look. But I wonder if they're going to head to the Mulwati kill on Little Gowrie. Okay, you ready to move, Trav?
Yep.
This is the first time I have seen this lot in quite some time, I must say. If I just go forward, we might be able to get a look at the other 2. They went down this embankment of the Mulwati, right next to this jackalberry. I'm going to try and figure out who these individuals are, and as we do that, back over to Ngala with all the commotion.
Welcome back to and Beyond Ngala. So as you might see and hear, of course, that commotion is still happening. Even though the sounds, like you can hear, are sort of dying down a bit. So that can tell really that this hyenas must be getting exhausted. And they are not getting successful in at least exhausting this young male, because he is actually going smart about things here. As you can see, he doesn't really move a lot away from that carcass, and of course time and again he will be able to sit down like that. Of course he's got his head up, he won't be able to afford to drop his head also down, because there's hyenas, that's when they might think they've got an advantage. But what I love about this is that he's not using as much energy trying to protect that carcass against these hyenas, which will work very well on his advantage there. See how a few of them now have laid down, so it's just those two that are still standing. The other ones have even moved away from him. Very beautiful question, Clint, there. So Clint wants to know if this situation would be different if it was a lioness carrying that carcass. So with that one, there is a matter or a few factors that can determine the outcome, Clint, if I can call it that. Of course, chances are if it was a lioness, there will most probably be other pride members in this area, which means that we might have a similar kind of situation where the hyenas will try, but they'll stay at bay like that. But if that young male was just one lioness, I think things would pretty much be working on this hyena's advantage, because 8 of them might be a bit too much for a lioness. Even though sometimes all these lionesses of this Birmingham pride are quite big, I must add. But if it's 8-9 hyenas like this, chances are they might have probably succeeded in stealing that carcass. But luckily for the lionesses, it's this young male staying guard here. Of course, if these hyenas were brave enough maybe to move in closer to him, they might succeed. But of course, like I have mentioned, none of them is prepared to be that ultimate sacrifice, because they know what might happen if they do move closer. Like sometimes it can be even one blow if it is at a wrong part of the hyena body from that young male. It might be lights out to the hyena. So none of them is prepared to be that sacrifice for the whole clan. Yeah, it looks like the sun is starting to come out. And of course these clouds looks like they are dying down a bit, which makes me think that we are most likely clear of the rains. But of course you can't really tell, so let's just play it by the ear. But I think the most exciting part about this morning is this sighting. For me at least. So those hyenas have stopped calling now, but as you can see, they're just still around him. At least it's 6 that I can see now. Maybe the other 2 have moved into the grasses and lied down. So this will be these hyenas trying to regain some strength. Then they can go at it again. Try and scare this young man. But of course their scaring tactics didn't really work, so they will have to think of a plan B. COD, I think they'll need a whole lot of plans to be able to steal this kill from this young male here. And I'm sure the viewers can agree with me in saying I am very proud of this young male. He can stand his ground, he's got character. It will be quite interesting to follow his story, like what will happen of him what will happen next, whether or not he will join those youngsters to go lead that nomadic life. What a coalition there will be. Looks like these hyenas might slowly be retreating, even though there are still quite a few that have remained. Even the other ones leaving the sighting are not really going far. Just think they're going far enough away from this young male that he doesn't try and go for them. Excuse me. Now they're lifting their heads up. It looks like one by one they're leaving this area here. Alright, while I still stay with this animal, I am going to hand you over to Ndabezita in Juma for a quick update.
Thank you, Marcus. Jeepers, it sounds like Marcus is having an absolute ripper of a sighting there. It's a day after his birthday. It's a slightly delayed birthday present for the man. So after we rushed back to put the roof on, the weather is so good now, we just went and dropped our roof off. Just did a loop around quarantine. We're going to go and check the western parts of Juma. See what we can turn up. If we find some interesting tracks, I'd love to do some segments on some tracks, just to show you some of the things we kind of look for when we're out here. Leopard lover, the furthest north I've tracked animals is Zambia. That's did a little bit in Botswana, Zambia and Zimbabwe. Just these impalas are looking pretty here in the sun. Yeah, so Zambia, that's the farthest north I've been. I would love to go to Kenya and Tanzania. Chad is on my list. Cheapest. Do you hear that impala? You see how that impala is? It's busy using the front teeth on the lower jaw to groom itself. That's why their coats always look amazing. How beautiful, eh? They often sort of get overlooked, because they are very numerous in a lot of the parks in South Africa, but the coloration, they're still one of my favorite antelope. So sleek. Yeah, Yuri, I agree with you. There's so many, and you always hear these like classic sort of guiding terms. They call them the McDonald's of the bush because of the M on the back of their bum. But they are so numerous. They're pretty unique. They're the only antelope in their family. They're not related to any other antelope, so they're unique in that way. And they're just so beautiful. we're going to leave these impala here, enjoying their breakfast. You're going to head over to Lauren.
Tandy and Marives have both popped out onto Gowrie Main, which is fantastic news. They've obviously just left the Jackalberry. They're both there. They were just playing a second ago. So the kill's obviously finished, and I would imagine that Kalamba finished most of it. Now you can see the power lines. We are on a main road, I'm afraid. It's not the most ideal spot, but that's okay. I'll take it. We'll all take it. Hello, Tandy Cat. You've had a rough time, huh? But it's so nice to see Tandy and Marie still together. Oh, there he is, Dov. I can see him. Hi, guys. Would you look at that? He just loves his mama. That is very, very sweet. Grooming mummy. You know, she's had a tough time. They're both grooming each other, my goodness. It wouldn't be a sighting if Tandy didn't make that face, would it? Many of you are so happy, I know. I'm just letting you enjoy this moment because we're actually down the hill, so we're looking up at them and it's just spectacular. James Richard, your morning is made. We've seen all of them. Kalamba, Tandy, Marips. Makes me smile too after the sad news. At least we've got these wonderful spotted cats to make us smile. Look at that tail. I think a few people were asking yesterday if Marips is independent yet, and he's not. It's normally closer to 2 years before the male is completely independent from mom. And he was a March baby. I guess he's coming up for 1.5 years, so it'll still be some time yet that we'll see this pair together. The boys are Mama's boys. Isn't that right, Tandy? You know all about that. Oh, so lovely. I'm so glad we got to see them all. Are you happy, Davy?
So happy.
Donna, yes, absolutely. Karula is Tandy's mama, the great Karula, the true queen. But in any monarchy, trust me, I'm British, the queen title gets handed down. So the queen title went from Karula naturally to Tandy. Now the vehicle in front of us is just going to move. We're going to move. Thank you guys. Thank you. And we are going to follow them. So yes, Karula was the queen, and of course Tandy's now taken that position in terms of our terminology. There's nothing quite like driving this road and just seeing this pair. Wow, it's really quite something. Mareebs is getting huge. Almost as tall, actually. Would you say he's taller, Davi? I think he is. I'm going to disagree with Dav. Just for the sake of disagreeing. Yeah. He's a chunky wee monkey. He's going to get a lot bigger. So this is Gowrie Main, our southern boundary. To the left is Duma and to the right is Little Gowrie. So we don't want them to swing a right. Just an update, Tandy and Mareebs are still heading east on Gowrie Main.
Okay, Lauren, yeah, if they cross to our area, let us know. But Kalamba also just got a bamba.
Copy, will do, Obs. Kalamba got a bamba. Kalamba's got a kill, which is great news for this afternoon. Okay, shall we go forward, Dav? We're the only one here. This feels a wee bit bizarre. It's a boundary line. Normally the boundary line sightings are tricky, to say the least. No, guys. Nope, wrong direction. I can see... You see him at that marula. They have crossed into Little Gowrie, I'm afraid. What a wonderful sighting. I think that might be the last we see of them, but I'm glad we got to share it with you all.
The annual Safari Guide of the Year competition aims to create awareness for those men and women who dedicate their lives to tourism and wildlife. This year's event will be held at Marataba, a breathtaking privately managed section of the Marikele National Park in South Africa's Limpopo province. In celebration of this, Wild Earth and Marataba Luxury Lodges are offering all explorers a chance to win a 3-night stay at Marataba Safari Lodge for you and a friend. In addition to a spectacular land-based safari, Marataba Luxury Lodges offer an opportunity for guests to cruise peacefully along the Matlabas River, watching the animals as they drink and wallow. The lodge offers you a chance to lie by the pool or enjoy a spa treatment, and one night could be spent sleeping out under the stars in a luxurious treehouse. Sign up to be a Wild Earth explorer before the 30th of June, and it could be you heading off on a long-awaited getaway. Wild Earth Explorers. It's in your nature. For many years, Wild Earth has taken viewers from around the world to the Mara Triangle, a place of majestic beauty and abundant wildlife. But it wasn't always like this. Before 2001, it was infested with poachers. Illegal harvesting and hunting was rife. Now the situation couldn't be more different. The hard work and dedication of the Mara Conservancy has revolutionized this magical land. But now, the loss of revenue from tourism has created a grave crisis. The Mara Conservancy needs help if they are to continue protecting the reserve and supporting the local communities whose livelihood depend on its survival.
It's a huge privilege to be in these incredible places with these amazing animals. I love filming lions. When they do get up and do something, it's always spectacular. When they are playing, are incredibly fun to watch, especially subalterns and cubs. I love being in the bush and working in these incredible places with these amazing animals. We want to bring it to you so that you can almost feel like you're right there and be able to experience it and enjoy it the way we are.
Welcome back to And Beyond Ngala, everyone. So as you saw the last time we had this young male, he had his head up, and now as you can see he has lied down there, even head flat down to the ground. So those hyenas have moved away from him at least, but yeah, they are still in these surrounding areas. So they just went and disappointed me. I just don't like hyenas when they are being uncooperative like this, because now this young male has taken it easy, as you can see there. No much commotion. Oh, the bird sort of scared him. So I can still see those hyenas at the background there, probably maybe strategizing how I'm gonna go for round 2, of which I don't think it will work so well for them, because chances are they're still gonna come with the same plan, same strategy that failed them before. But I think that's what they might do, in which in their case it will be pretty much like watching a same movie but hoping for a different ending. I don't think their strategy would work as much, but of course it affords that male at least a bit of break, so that they can sort of snooze for a couple of minutes that they will let him. But yeah, that being mentioned, he's not just gonna lie there all the time. He will lift his head, just try and investigate the area, because these hyenas can try and sneak in. And if he is like that, they do get hold of him, you know. It might not work well so much for him also, there you see. Like his head flat on the ground, but every now and then you can see him opening his eyes. And you see how also his sort of muzzle have turned a bit bloody, as you can see from feeding, so it's not as white as it would be usually. There you go, you can see that it's taking that red color. So from all the blood that is getting in that carcass. Yeah, I didn't really get that question. Please repeat for me. Sorry about that. Oh yeah, I think Mula, I do agree with you. This carcass looks rather fresh. So of course this cold weather helps a great deal. It won't go off as it would if maybe it was hot in this area here. But yeah, of course this cold weather will keep that meat fresh, which is very ideal for that young male. Even though like that carcass, even if it goes a bit off, that young male will pretty much
still stick with it. He'll try and feed off it much as it might not taste as much as it would when it is this fresh. But yeah, of course, being by himself like this, he would want to take all the meat that he can take out of that carcass, because that also affords him a bit of rest. He doesn't have to go at it again when it comes to hunting. And if he is alone like this, he doesn't have the right support, so he'll have to do all the hunting by himself while looking out for those males that they not closing in on him. So this works well for him. I can see just to his side there is a hooded vulture there that might be hoping to get something, but yeah, he is not moving away from his kill. Very good question, Daja. Not necessarily with lion and hyenas. I think this will be my first time with lions and hyenas. However, I have seen this similar sort of situation with a pack of 17 wild dogs that had taken down an impala ram, and 3 hyenas that came try to steal it from these wild dogs, which the dogs did manage to defend their kill. They had most of that ram until it was like, I think it was just the head left. That's when they left and the 3 hyenas fought for that head. But yeah, with the hyenas and lions, this is actually my first time, which was quite interesting to see. You see, he has set his head. Oh, looks like he's getting down now. Look at that branch. Looks like a pillow for him. But I don't think it was as comfortable as you say. He has lifted his head up again. There you see there's 2 vultures on the background. Just surprised there hasn't been more vultures in this area, because those 2 that we're seeing on the background, I think it's the very same 2 that we saw yesterday when we found this young male here. And we can hear some hippos at the background. Of course, we did mention that he is just by the side of the waterhole. Yeah, now that not a lot is happening here, I think I will leave this young male here and then try see what else he will be able to see. And we are going to send you over to Lauren in Juma.
Miss Kalamba did make a bamba. I think that's a diker, from what I can see. Kalamba. She had her mama's diker yesterday, and now she's got her own. We're on Juma though, we're very much on Juma, which means at least we'll get to spend a day or 2 with her. Now, all this action that you've seen this morning has happened in a very small radius. It's all happened very close together. Kalamba, Tandi and Maribs were of course together yesterday and this morning. Kalamba separated, but it's all happened in a really sort of close proximity to one another. So she's made the kill just moments ago, as you heard. And yeah, we're just relaxing. You know, we go grocery shopping and then we keep all our groceries in the cupboard. We don't eat them straight away. Same thing. What a morning. I went to bed feeling so sad last night. Very, very sad. And I guess it's just nice to just see Juma be Juma. Davi always says Juma is the place where you kick a marula and a leopard falls out. So Davi just goes around kicking marulas. No, I'm only joking. But it just refers to the really high density of leopards that we have here. And this morning just shows you 3, all all related, all Karula's lineage in one very small radius. I love Kalamba Batri. There's nothing quite like it. Sharon, you are 11 years old, and Kalamba, Princess Kalamba, sorry, is your favorite leopard. It's a tough one, Sharon. It's very tough to choose. But you know what? I'm going to agree with you. She's my favorite female. Without a doubt. Ravi was your favorite. I don't know if you will have all heard that, but he said Kalamba with heart-shaped eyes. Perfection. Look at the tail still twitching. Twitch, twitch. Up another jackalberry. I really don't even think she's opened that. I think it's a diker. It's either a diker or a steamboat. From what I can see, I think it's a diker. The diker populations are not doing too well right now. Yeah, I think that's a diker. She's resting. As soon as leopards get the kill hoisted, really, there's not much to worry about. The hyenas were really close by earlier, and I wonder if they will have heard the screams or pick up on the scent and come back. The only thing a leopard really has to worry about when it hoists are other leopards. Look what happened to Tandy. I mean, she had that hoisted perfectly yesterday, but Kalamba still got to it. And lions. Occasionally, lions will run up a tree to steal a kill from a leopard, especially in winter, especially when they're possibly separated from the pride and they're hungry. They can get up trees. They're just heavier. It's just not so easy for them to get up a tree. Whereas leopards, a few seconds and they're up there, defying all gravity. And they're so elegant in doing so. Ben, you're asking how often do we see? Oh, that's tricky. We don't see Kalamba every day. She comes and goes. She actually has quite a big territory. And in order to be a territorial female, she has to mark that territory, actively defend it. But we see her on a kill a lot, I would say. She's quite the huntress, taking after her mother. I mean, leopards, depending on the size, we get asked a lot, how often do they kill? I mean, it's a very difficult question to answer because it really depends on what they're killing. When Kalamba was younger, even Hosanna, they used to do a lot of sort of pouncing on scrub hares and mongoose and squirrels and eating the small things, which will tide them over. But if they make a big kill, like a big impala ram, that's going to last them a long time, and therefore they're not going to need to eat so often. So it really depends on what they're killing. But a diker would normally last about 2 days, 3 at the most, depending on how hungry she is. But remember, it's winter. The animals are eating more in order to keep warm. I'm sure Johnsy will be excited he can come and meet Miss Kalamba this afternoon. Look at the size of those paws. They are not small. penguin. I hope I've got that made right. Apologies if I've not. You have said she is really growing up to be quite the beautiful leopard. Oh yes, I mean she was a gorgeous cub. And we knew, Tingana and Tandy's genes could not go wrong. What could go wrong with that genetic mix? Not much, I think. I sometimes think she looks facially like Tingana, but that's just my personal, I know you shouldn't say on that, those sort of observations, but I see that, but she's also very like her mom. But seeing Tandy walk along, I remain like that. Tandy's so small. She's very petite. Lucine, you're asking about control of the tail. There's no bone in the tail, it's just muscle, so yes, they do have control over it. And normally they can twitch to communicate their feelings, body language. If a leopard's not happy with your presence, they'll raise the tail and they'll twitch it rapidly, and that is a sign, especially if you're on foot, it's time to leave. This leopard is telling you they're not happy with your presence. Sometimes they raise their tail when they're walking along a road to show the white side, and we call this raising the white flag. They're just trying to say, hey everyone, yes, no need to alarm call, we're not here to cause anyone harm. But they probably still would. This is just sort of to make peace. The birds will be alarm calling, the monkeys will be alarm calling, the impalas will be alarm calling. But it conveys a lot of body language. It also acts for stability and balance in trees. Tails have a lot of functions in the animal kingdom across the board, but communication in cats is a big one. And when we went off air earlier, Darby said, my goodness, my Reeves was really smacking Tandy hard in the face with his tail. And he was, but this is actually a very big sign of affection between mother and offspring in leopards. He constantly wants to wrap his tail around her, and it just strengthens their bond, mother and cub. And that's why he's always putting his tail in poor Tandy's face. And he probably is doing it quite hard without meaning so, but it's a real sort of sign of affection within leopards. Got a busy drive. It's actually nice to keep still. Jennifer, you're asking, is it urine that they use when they scent mark? Yes, it is urine. It is urine, a sort of normal bodily fluid, if you like, and it contains something that we call marking fluid. And this marking fluid, which I like to say scoosh, scoosh, they scoosh, scoosh, this contains their unique chemical signature, their unique chemical codes that will tell any other leopard all about Tlalamba. She's a dominant female. This is her territory, whether she's an estrus or not. And that's how leopards communicate, and it's really fascinating. That's a world that humans are just not privy to in any way, shape, or form. And we call this fluid marking fluid. It's essentially urine that they store for that purpose. That chemical sort of signature is also in their feces. So when they do the toilet, they can also communicate through that, as well as scent marking along the vegetation. And their sebaceous glands, which is on the cheek, next to the whiskers, they'll rub their face in the vegetation, and it's doing the same job. That's why they love to stand in their urine, which sounds really bizarre to humans, but it means that that fluid gets transferred onto their paws and they can spread it as they walk. Okay, we're definitely not going anywhere. Our morning is made with Tlalamba Nonabamba.
Wild Earth knows it is critical to help as many young people as possible to connect with the natural world. We hope that by bringing the wilderness to our future conservationists, we will inspire a love for nature and perhaps plant a seed which will flourish in the future. Over the years, kids from countries all over the world have joined us on safari.
I really enjoyed learning about the leopards and the cubs and how they hunt and live.
We got to see different types of antelopes, and we also saw our male lion's tracks.
I got to learn about like different types of animals in their natural habitats.
It was like we were on a real safari, so it was kind of cool. We got to see a lot of unique animals.
That whole Safari Live video just inspired me to fulfill my dream of becoming a safari guide as well.
Founded in 1973, the Endangered Wildlife Trust has consistently and effectively worked towards achieving our conservation legacy. Contribute to this legacy by visiting EWT's Get Wild eShop and purchase products with a purpose.
My name is Steve, and one of my favorite things at Wild Earth is getting questions from you. The type of questions that I really like are those ones that really help us to unpack and understand and really integrate the ecological knowledge and fully appreciate the importance that animals such as these Cape buffalo bring to the ecosystem. If you want to ask a question on Wild Earth, you're going to have to register on the website. But once registered, just head on over to the live safari page and enter your question under the live feed.
It just pretended to be dead. Oh, that was amazing. I can't. How do I? It's like that is hands down the coolest.
Expect the unexpected here on Wild Earth daily.
Oh, how exciting. We've just found and literally bumped into a leopard here on Philemon's cut line. We're busy tracking a lion. And this leopard is actually stalking some impala now. So he's busy looping around the front of us. The impala are behind us. So this is definitely going to be worth seeing what develops here. So I'm not sure at all who this is. I didn't get a... Darren thinks it's Tingana. That'll be cool for me. It's a new one. Let's try follow him, but from a distance, because I definitely don't want to disturb his chance at catching. Oh, there's an Inyala right there. Yo. I don't know if you see it there, Darren. Yeah. That Inyala is looking. Oh, did you hear that bark from the Inyala? So it spotted the leopard. The leopard will be pretty bummed with that, because now those impala will be aware that there's a leopard here. So unfortunately for this moment, the hunt will be over. Okay, awesome. So it sounds like we've got Shadulu. Let's see if we can get a view. So normally when a leopard gets spotted like this, the Inyala actually just walk towards the leopard. The leopard will move away. Just be careful on the side there. The leopard will want to move away. Whoa. Jeepers. because she's come into a very thick spot here. We're going to try and get another view. We're going to head back to Lauren with Kalamba.
My goodness, 4 leopards in one morning from Juma. Shudulu, well done, Jaunty. Now, we are in the drainage just off Elephant Carcass, and Philemon's Cut Line's really not far away. That's 4 leopards in quite close proximity to one another. They're always constantly moving, ebbing, and weaving through one another, aware of one another's presence through this chemical signature. Now, June arrived on the scene. I haven't got a view of her right now, but she's here somewhere. Considering our proximity to the hyena den, I really didn't think it would be that long before a hyena showed up. Now, going back to the chemical, well, the scent marking is such an interesting topic. So both scent marking and vocalizations in territorial animals like leopards are actually used to communicate to one another and maintain spacing, which reduces aggressive encounters. So I've just mentioned to you 4 leopards in a really close proximity. So when they do vocalize, when they do scent mark, they're just trying to maintain space. Hey, this is my space. And this, in effect, reduces aggressive encounters. And the first thing Jake said when he was on his live safari with the ticketed view, I want to smell popcorn. And really, when I first heard leopard urine smells like popcorn, I thought, oh, maybe it smells a little bit, but no, 100%. You would think that I have just put a bowl of butter popcorn on your lap. And this bewitching scent is actually formed by a chemical known as 2-AP. 2-acetyl-1-pyrroline, that's the chemical signature. And when you heat popcorn, those kernels you get that eventually do pop into that lovely fluffy popcorn that we eat actually has that chemical, because the proteins and the sugars in the kernel create a chemical reaction with the heat that turns into 2-AP. So when we say that her urine smells like butter popcorn, it really does smell like butter popcorn because it's the same chemical in butter popcorn. And it's well studied in the Asian binturong. It's a very cute animal. It's a lovely little mammal. And lots of research suggests that this compound 2-AP is produced when the animal's urine actually reacts with bacteria in the animal's gut. So it's a reaction between the urine, which is normal. Urine's produced by most organisms. There's a reaction there, and this, of course, is a reaction with the microorganisms that line most mammals' guts, including our own. We have our own gut flora. It really does smell like butter popcorn. It's unbelievable, the smell. I think we can reposition. What do you think, Dove? I don't know how smooth this will be. Knowing my luck, not smooth at all, but we shall try. Not too bad. Lovely to see some blue sky. We can barely even see that duiker. And I've recently spoke about the sort of subject phenomenology. And again, it goes back to we really can't fully understand the leopard. Yes, we can understand they climb trees and X, Y, Z, what we can see, what we can observe. But we will never, ever know what it's like to be a leopard. we can't understand that chemical world. We don't have the ability to tune in and taste and smell all these wonderful chemicals with all these chemoreceptors that understand and are processed in the brain to tell us what's happening. We can't sniff each other's urine and say, ah, yes, it's you. We don't understand scent, Martin. We can't smell a tree. All we smell is butter popcorn, and then we get hungry and we start thinking about popcorn. That's literally the thought process for humans. We can't understand what that scent means, what that scent is trying to tell us. And going back to that famous quote, if a lion could talk, we still wouldn't understand it, and we wouldn't. We don't understand these animals. There's so much that we miss. And that's why we always have to keep an open mind and try and look at the organism from different perspectives, because there's so much we're actually missing. They see the world so different from us in their own little bubble, in their own little umwelt. Davy gave me a wink there. He actually used the word umwelt the other day, and that means he listens to what I say. Don't stop. Sometimes. Elton, I just want to check you're still there. We have repositioned, and I hope we've not lost you. Ah, he's still there. Perfect. Carl. I haven't, no. But apparently it happens. Lepers can fall out of trees, just like us. We lose balance. Tlalamba's answering your question with her eyes there, Carl, saying, me, fall out of tree. Who do you think I am? You see that? You see that? But apparently they can stumble, they can fall. There's a hilarious video circulating on good old social media of a lion sneezing and almost falling out of a tree. But I've never personally seen it. I mean, they normally choose marulas, jacoberries, those trees with the really thick branches that they can just lie down on is completely stable. Apparently they can also jump out of trees to hunt. Someone once sent me a video, but I've also never seen that. I mean, that could go wrong. If a leopard breaks its leg, that's it, I'm afraid. A hyena will bounce back, but it's very unlikely a leopard would. Many of you are just loving this, 100%. When you're with Tlalamba, you really want her to be up a tree, especially if you're a cameraman. When you're following her on the road, it's not the easiest task in the world. But when you have her up a tree like this, it's absolute perfection. And she'll be here this afternoon, unless that diker runs away. Yesterday it was hard. That sighting with Tlalamba, Tandi and Maribs happened about 25 meters from us, but on Little Gowrie. So that was obviously difficult because we wanted to show it to you all. We knew it was happening, but it's not possible, I'm afraid. So that was sad. And then we got confirmation of the sad news last night about Shimbulu. So I guess it's just nice this morning to, at least we've seen them all. Tandi, Tlalamba and Maribs. Yes, I thought I heard Ellie Bum, but I'm just going to check that in case that's not the case. Okay, that is my new favorite name. Ellie Bum. That is my new favorite viewer name. Love it. Ellie Bum. Now I've forgotten the question. Yes, can Juma reach a point where it has too many leopards? Most likely not. So they all pressurize each other, not directly. Again, through this chemical communication. They're all trying to expand their territory. Females want a bigger territory because it's better for their offspring. Males want a bigger territory because it's better to have more females within your territory that you can mate with. Then you'll have more offspring. Then your bloodline is very successful. So the strive for bigger territories on both sexes are different, but they still want bigger territories. The bigger, the better. But it takes a lot of work, and I always talk about this. It's not easy. It really eats into their energetic budget. Tlalamba's a young, fit, healthy, territorial female, and that's why she does eat a lot, because she'll spend a lot of time on territorial patrol. So the Sabi Sands, especially the section that we're in, is known for its high density of leopards. However, they all ebb and flow around one another. It's like a big jigsaw puzzle that's constantly moving, like the visualizer on the Apple Mac. And the more leopards that are added, again, males disperse. That's another reason males do disperse. There's a number of reasons for it, mostly genetics, but also to avoid competitions, get away from your father's natal land. And yes, there are examples of the few that don't disperse, but general rule of thumb, the males disperse, the females stay. And when we lost Karula, which was terribly sad, it wasn't a case of Tandy then taking over Karula's huge territory. Her territory was mammoth. It was a case of all the females surrounding Karula's territory then moving in and all trying to fit into that vacuum that has been created in her absence. Kuchava, Tandy, maybe even Shudulu, Ikanyeni, everyone's starting to move around and taking a little bit of that, like a constantly moving jigsaw puzzle. So I don't think Juma would get to the point where there were too many leopards. They're all constantly pushing one another, and I mean, look what happened to Hook. We can't forget about that just because he's not here. He was getting pushed out. He was under pressure from Hosanna, Flat Rock, and Tortoise Pan. And he was a little bit weak. He wasn't in good condition, and he was struggling. So they will get pushed. If there's a bigger competitor, they're going to have to move. They're going to have to find another space. I wonder what she's looking at. So yes, in answer to your question, it's a tricky one. It's a very dynamic situation. It depends on a lot of external factors. Here she goes. Kalamba, why are you coming down? Okay. Well, this puts us in a bit of a tricky spot now. Thanks, Tlalamba. No idea where she's off to, but we will try and find out. For now, over to Marcus.
Welcome back to And Beyond Ngala, everyone. So we are now in that riverbed, driving towards the area where we sometimes see these tracks of that female leopard with her youngsters. And so for this morning, unfortunately, I haven't really found any fresher tracks. But yeah, we are gonna keep looking because, of course, with this sort of weather, these animals would sometimes find these riverbeds a bit warm. So that's where you might find them with luck. And of course, we are looking on top of the trees, as you might have seen with that leopardess that Lauren has got. So sometimes they do spend time
on top of the trees. Other times they will be just on the ground here, close to thickets, where they will be able to hide or conceal themselves against any potential dangers. We have left that area where that young male is, and of course from the updates, the recent updates in that sighting is that the hyenas looks like they might have given up because they haven't really made their way to where that young male is. But like I mentioned earlier, you might find that it was them just trying to get a bit more energy. That's when they will be able to go and try again. But that young man is so adamant. He is not having hyenas stealing his kill, which was quite nice to see. And of course, even sometimes when he has got with those dominant males trying to push him around, if they come one at a time, he sort of hold his own. And see, there is a female kudu there to our side. I'm not sure if we'll be able to get it on the screen. There we go there. That female kudu, as you can see, looking straight at us. Oh, now she's looking the other direction, which will be quite... she didn't spend as much time looking that side. And look at her ears here. See how they sort of stand out right at the top and very curled. And of course, you see she is on a thicket there, which is the vegetation that this kudu will spend most of their time in, because of course they are browsers, so they take leaves more than grass, and mostly there she is feeding. As you can see, she's taking leaves on that tree. And it's just this only animal that I can see for now. But of course, with these female kudus, you'll find them in aggregations, that there will be just a number of females with their youngsters. And see how she's cupping her ears forward like that when looking at that particular direction, so that she will get... Oh, there is another one that I can see. Looks like she's walking closer to that one. Back to feeding. I think for now we are going to leave this kudu here and continue with our quest, maybe to find a leopard. And I'm going to send you over to Ndabezita for a quick update.
So welcome back, everyone. So we decided to leave Shadulu. She went into quite a thick area. And the fact that Inyala spotted her, she actually moved away quite quickly as to avoid being sort of harassed by the Inyala barking at her. So we decided to just leave her to her morning. And we've carried on, and the lion tracks that we were following earlier have come back out onto this road. And we're going to follow them. It's been such a patient game. We've just been going slowly, slowly. What can a track tell us about a leopard? I'm just going to stop there because I'm going to check which way this line's gone. But so a track can tell you a lot of things. It will tell you the age or the size, sorry, not so much the age, but it'll tell you the size, so you can see if it's a cub, you can see if it's a male, if it's a female. You can tell how fast they're walking, if they're walking relaxed or if they've been running. And depending on the substrate, but you could also get a fairly good idea of how recently that animal walked there. Okay, let me just have a look here, because the lion was back there. It's been kind of dropping circles on us the whole morning. I want to make sure I don't end up in the Steve category and walk into the whole pride of lions here. It is tricky. I'm just going to come to the side of the car. The last track we saw was back here. Here it is here, huh? He must have stayed here. Especially like male lions. Oh, there's a toe there. He must have gone this way. Carl, they will. Sometimes you'll see them eating grass, just like you'd see a domestic pet do when their stomach's upset. Lions definitely do the same, and leopards for that matter. So we're going from one junction here to another. Must just be very careful to make sure we take the right road. I'm presuming he's going to go down here. Hey. There's a hornbill busy laughing at me. From what I've seen, I don't think so. The closest I've seen to it was a male leopard killed a warthog, and the female that was in the area, she just kind of walked up to him and sniffed the warthog while he was busy trying to kill it. But she didn't help. She was just there. So from what I've seen, I don't think they will help each other on a hunt. I'm just checking carefully. I can't see these tracks now, but I'm pretty sure this hornbill's laughing at me. Just going to check a little bit behind. Sorry for going behind the car. I'll keep chatting to you, but I'm just checking. You don't want to go down the wrong road, because obviously when you're busy tracking, you want to stay as close to the animal as possible. So if you go down the wrong road for sort of 10 minutes or so, it's 10 minutes that the animal gets ahead of you. It is amazing how they can do this. His lion was here, but someone's driven here. Maybe they drove on the tracks. Let's just drive down a little bit and see what we get. But it's crazy. I mean, busy lion, and all of a sudden a leopard is sitting on the side of the road. It's so radical. We're going to check along here. You're going to head over to Lauren, see what she's up to.
We have left Miss Kalamba. Lots of other people want to see her, and I feel we have had more than enough of our fill today, more than enough. It's raining leopards. I feel like there's a song there, but I don't want to put you guys through that. There's definitely a song in that line. But yes, we've left the sighting so that other people can go see her. But because the kill is in the tree, she'll be there this afternoon. At some point, she will come back for that kill. Great promise. But my goodness, I'm exhausted. I need to go and put my feet up. Get breakfast. But we are going to just go quickly past the den. Kalamba's kill is right next to the den. This is the den block. just want to check. As much as we would like to think they do, they don't. The human voice, the human tone, the human actions is not relevant to them. Let's go back to that little bubble we were talking about, Cheryl. Every animal has their own little bubble, and we call it the Umwelt, which is a German word, and it just means your surrounding world, or something like that. I'm sure I'm going to be corrected by numerous German people now. But every organism sees their own little world, and we are not relevant to them. Yes, if I was to jump off the vehicle and walk towards Tlalamba, I do become a threat. I'm taking away from this vehicle and I become a bipedal man, a threat, a primate. And they would react because we're walking towards them. But on the vehicle, most of the animals here are really habituated, and they're used to seeing these strange figures talking. Strange Scottish females driving about looking for them. But unfortunately, Cheryl, they wouldn't recognise us. They recognise the vehicle and all the sounds that the vehicle comes with, from the engine to the talking, maybe even the cameras. But other than that, individually, no. As much as I like to think I am part of the Juma clan and I tease about it, I'm really not. The animals only recognize and only know what they need to know to survive out here. Survival is tough. And the example with Shimbulu is a perfect example of that. It's not easy. It's not an easy life out here to live in the wild. And humans are so far removed from it now. We shouldn't be, but we are. And therefore, it's really not relevant for them to know us individually. They need to know who the enemies are, and they need to know each other. Need to be able to identify their own species, whether it's chemically, whether it's vocally, whether it's visually. They need to be able to identify members of their own species, because normally they're the biggest threat. And then they need to recognize the enemies. Who are the threats out here? Is it the lions? Is it the hyenas? Is it the dogs? Okay, we are at the den. I see someone. Hello? It's not an adult, I'm afraid, but we can have a brief look. Good morning. This makes my heart a little bit heavy, actually. All those memories from lockdown. Shimbulu was a lockdown cub. This must be Novella, I think. Okay, everyone, as you know, we don't stay here. We won't stay here. You ready to move, Dove? Yep. At least we know they're still using this den. It's still active. There's obviously just no adult present. Okay, I'm glad I checked, though. I'm very glad I checked. And now we're going to head just a little bit closer to home and see what's happening on quarantine.
The annual Safari Guide of the Year competition aims to create awareness for those men and women who dedicate their lives to tourism and wildlife. This year's event will be held at Marataba, a breathtaking privately managed section of the Marikele National Park in South Africa's Limpopo province. In celebration of this, Wild Earth and Marataba Luxury Lodges are offering all explorers a chance to win a 3-night stay at Marataba Safari Lodge for you and a friend. In addition to a spectacular land-based safari, Marataba Luxury Lodges offer an opportunity for guests to cruise peacefully along the Matlabas River, watching the animals as they drink and wallow. The lodge offers you a chance to lie by the pool or enjoy a spa treatment, and one night could be spent sleeping out under the stars in a luxurious treehouse. Sign up to be a Wild Earth explorer before the 30th of June, and it could be you heading off on a long-awaited getaway. Wild Earth Explorers. It's in your nature. Educating our youth about the environmental threats we face is critical. Our future depends on it. The Wildlife and Environment Society of South Africa, WESA, is actively leading the charge. Their goal is to encourage children to fall in love with our natural world and to empower them to live sustainably in the future. Through their school programs, the children learn to report on environmental issues through videos, articles, and photos.
The YRE program has changed my life in so many beneficial ways. Being out there at the workshops, I was entitled to talk with others, socialize, as well as my writing skills and leadership skills have improved, so it has been great.
WESA is a membership-based organization. By joining WESA, you will be helping to provide valuable support for these youth education initiatives.
Hi everyone, my name is Daniel Fisher and I'm going to be your guide this afternoon. I'm looking really forward to taking you through and showing you all the beautiful places here at and beyond Ngala. If you have any questions, please register on our website. Once registered, go to the live page feed and post your questions underneath the live feed. Join me on my next safari through and beyond Ngala on Wild Earth. Send me live questions through the Wild Earth website and I'll answer them live from the African.
Welcome back to and beyond Ngala. So we went out of drove out of the riverbed. We couldn't, of course, get any fresh tracks of that leopard and hare youngsters. So we're just driving some of these roads that are close to this riverbed because, of course, some of them are the roads that she will use coming out. But for other roads as this one I'm driving right now, it won't be as easy to see tracks. It's sort of a hard ground. But yeah, sometimes, you just find these animals on the road. It's not that the tracks that you have to be looking for. And of course, the tracks, ultimately, you'd want them to lead you to an animal. So it's much, much better when you just find this animal. So there is one small pond or pen system not too far from where we are. That is where I want to check as well if maybe they might have gone for a drink. And even if it's not this leopards, any other animal for that matter. And it is quite thick, as you can see, not open at all, in which we have got to be looking very carefully and hard. That's when you will be able to see these animals, because some of them do blend in with the surroundings. And you want to know whether or not that male lion will be still in that area in the afternoon. I think most likely, you see, that carcass, much as he has fed on most of it, but of course he would ideally want to keep the whole of it to himself. So chances are he might still be in that area, because as we saw earlier, he was protecting that carcass, but he wasn't really feeding on it even when the hyenas have left him, which I think he might have fed. He might still be full, but he would want to guard it against those hyenas. So chances he might be in that area. So for now, we are going to send you over to Lauren in Juma. Let's see what she has for us.
I'm heading back for breakfast. I'm hungry. It's been a busy morning. Very excited to see what's for breakfast. But what a morning it really has been. Of course, it started with bad news, but let's just cherish little Shambulu's memories and not forget them, really. Cub mortality rates out here are low for all the predators, not high. Oh, Tav, look what we've got. A little steeny bokkie. We're going to pretend. We're going to be very quiet. Oh. Hello. But it's been so great to see all the leopards. High leopard action this morning. If you think about it, Jonty had Shidulu, Duchess from the west, Klalamba, very much Princess of Juma, and then Tandi. And I've said it in that order from west to east. That's how their territories lie around here. Shidulu sits in the west, and if you come center, In our area, Djuma's very much Tlalamba's territory, and then as you go further east, it's now Tandi. Tandi shifted. She had to. She had to give a section of her territory to Tlalamba, and that just happened to be the larger part of Djuma. It's been really fascinating seeing all those leopardesses and where they sit next to one another, really. So what a fantastic morning from Team Wendy. Davy and I say thank you for joining us, and we are now going to send you over to Jonty to close the show.
Yeah, Lauren, you are right. It has been a very cool morning. We've enjoyed trekking, and it's led us to Treehouse Dam, where this water monitor is busy basking in the sun. The lion tracks that we'd been following all morning were heading towards the dam, so we kind of took the chance to try and leapfrog ahead of them to come see if the lion was lying here at the dam. And we have been rolled a pumpkin. But it's fine. It's such a beautiful place to be sitting, just chilling out with this water monitor. Also very nice to bump into Shadulu. Michael, I have seen them swimming. They certainly don't enjoy it, but I've seen them, if they can, they'll use rocks and logs to cross water. But in the Sand River a bit further south, when the water level's high, I have seen a leopard. I think it thought it was going to walk across, but the water was pretty deep, and it obviously hit a deep patch, and then it did swim across. So yes, I have seen them swim, but they don't like it the whole time. The times that I've seen them going across water, you can see they're permanently hissing at the water. So they're definitely not happy about it, because they will be aware that the old crocodile could be there waiting for them. Glad that he's moving back up. When we found him, he was right on the log. He obviously got a bit of a fright, but he definitely wants to try take in as much sun as possible. Well, he's just getting super comfortable. From Darren, myself, Odie, and the other guides, and the water monitor, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you this afternoon where we can do it all again.